At the beginning of this year, we are confronted with unprecedented and multiple challenges. We need to overcome the most critical fragmentation. And the most critical fragmentation is between those who take a constructive attitude and those who are just bystanders, observers, and even go into the negative, critical, and confrontational attitude.
Chairman Schwab, I'm from Japan. May I ask you for... I'm from Japan.
Yeah?
And may I ask you for a comment?
No, we're on our way to the next thing. We're a bit late.
I can just walk with you and then ask questions.
I think we're gonna rush actually. But thank you. Thanks very much.
Which media are you with?
I am an independent journalist from Japan.
No, thank you very much.
Yes.
I have to ask.
Thank you.
But I wanted to ask just one question. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Where are you based?
I can just walk and ask you.
Thank you. No, sorry, we're in a big rush. We've got so many things tonight.
But for us,
thank you.
It's very precious
I
moment.
know. He's got so many people stopping that if he were to stop for everything, we win. That's the unfortunate. So I'm very sorry, but thank you. Thank you for trying.
Do you know the voice that worry about globalism?
Thank you.
There are many concerns.
Nice evening. Thank you. Thank you.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this cabinet, are actually young noble leaders of the world economy. So that we penetrate the cabinets. The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us. We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? To take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There is only one way this pandemic is going to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
For all 8 billion people in this world. So it's a very important point that you are addressing. My daughter, 24, inspired me and said, "Dad, how can you advocate for these zero-carbon value chains if you still eat meat?" And so I stopped eating meat. Now the math would say, well, you need to stop eating meat 11 years to compensate for a flight to Thailand. Yes, but if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact. And I predict that we will have proteins not coming from meat in the future, They will probably taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat if we can have a better taste? They will be zero carbon and much healthier than the kind of food that we eat today. They will probably taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat if we can have a better taste? And I predict that we will have proteins not coming from meat in the future.
How about new, you crazy Dutch bastard?
The clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows a session just now about disrupting distrust, and of course those are connected, so I hope that's where we can start. I'm Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, now a fellow at Harvard University. We can try to put some real information out into the world to make up for all the crazy. I'll tell you a brief, funny, maybe not funny story. So I leave CNN, and there's a crazy website that posts an article saying I was arrested by military police. And then I have a fact-checking email, and I don't know whether to reply to the fact-checker and bother with this, right? Same website a month later says I've been executed at Guantanamo Bay. So the fact-checker emails me again. And I say, well, do you want to take my pulse? How do I disprove that I wasn't executed? And so to me, that is amusing and ridiculous. How does this discussion of disinformation relate to everything else happening here today in Davos?
So I think if you look at this question of disinformation, I think it maps basically to every other major challenge that we are grappling with as a society, and particularly the most existential among them. So disinformation and the broader set of misinformation, conspiracy, propaganda, clickbait, you know, the broader mix of bad information that's corrupting the information ecosystem. What it attacks is trust. And once you see trust decline, what you then see is societies start to fracture. And so you see people fracture along tribal lines, and you know, that immediately undermines pluralism.
Well, we need the people who understand the language and the case law in the country. Because what qualifies as hate speech, as illegal hate speech, which you will have soon also in the US. I think that we have a strong reason why we have this in the criminal law. We need the platforms to simply work with the language and to identify such cases. The AI would be too dangerous.
On teaching students and young people how to recognize disinformation. So there clearly are models that work. I also think it's useful for us not to overthink the problem too much. I mean, ultimately, what you're teaching people in those moments, as much as anything, as much as you're teaching them to recognize a lie, I suspect you're teaching them to recognize trustworthy sources, whether that's, you know, an institution like the Times or the Post or the Journal, whether that's scientists, whether that's academia.